Sagittarius, happy birthday. This is your birthday bonus reading. Right now the moon is a half moon in the sign of Pisces, and we're gonna have that full moon in Cancer on the 15th. So yeah, tons of big energy happening right now. Especially with all the holidays, it can be very up and down. Some people are feeling more on the emotional side, a lot of people are feeling more sentimental. So let's see kind of where you're at and what you need to hear. So let's start out with figuring out, who are you? Andromedans, autonomy, free will, and manifestation. So you're definitely somebody who values your autonomy, right? You value your freedom, your right to choose. You could also be manifesting some kind of autonomy, right? So like manifesting something that would make you feel a little bit more liberated, whether that's in a job, relationship, social circle, travel, whatever. It's very subjective. We're gonna get into the depths of it. I feel like I want to do my Wonderland tarot deck because I feel like we're going down this rabbit hole together. So yes, here we go. Because I kind of want to know exactly what this means for you. I'm seeing like the Kabbalion Tree of Life back here with the Triskelion. There's like some past life, the yin yang, symbols. There's a lot of past life symbolism in this card, right? A lot of like karma, right? Which can bring me to like karmic relationships or karmic soul ties, things that are from past lives that are kind of dwindling into the now for you. So, yeah, we'll dive into the tarot. See what you need to hear. Okie dokie. So we have the Fool in reverse, right? So right off the bat, your energy is screaming that you're not trying to do anything foolish or counterintuitive to, what you would like to see your life as, or, whatever. This also talks about like refraining from like impulse control, right? Refraining from impulses or impulsive action. So it's like you like to really think things through and be certain, right? Certainty is a big deal for you. We have the Emperor in reverse, which tells me that somebody in your life might come off as bossy or perhaps a bit tyrannical, right? So this is somebody who brings like drama into your life in some way, right? And perhaps the way the Fool card is showing up with this, because that's Uranus energy. This is Aries energy. And it's kind of like with them both in reverse, it's like you don't want things to explode or get out of control, right? Because air and fire can be a little explosive. And so I see like kind of trying to keep shit kosher, right? Or copacetic, right? And it reminds me of that song. Fuck, what is it called? That da, 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 na, 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 na. You'll learn to forget it, keep it copacetic. Oh wait, I think I had that backwards. Damn it, how does it go? It's like keep it copacetic and you learn to forget it, you know. So pathetic. Da, 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 da. What is that song called? It's I don't know. It's haunting me now. But that's what it feels like. Like you're just trying to like keep the peace with somebody. This could be a boss, or a coworker, or, and dare I say, relationship, friendship, roommateship. It's just somebody in your life. And I feel like as soon as I brought it up, they came to mind, right? But it's like somebody in your life, they've got kind of this like my way or the highway kind of energy with you. Like they want control, right? Over you, over the situation. We'll see what this all means for you. Okay, so we have the Queen of Cups in reverse, right? You could be having like kind of a change of heart, or you might be feeling yourself get a little cold in this situation, right? You're like being a little bit more aloof or a little bit more detached. With the Eight of Swords in reverse, it's like because you're starting to see the forest for the trees with this person, with this situation, it's like you're just getting more and more clarity every day, and it's like, and it just feels like you're ready to kind of walk away from something here, or you know, you're ready to move on to the next cycle, whatever that is. If it's like a job, then I see that you're like actively looking for something else. If it's in regards to having to move or something, you know, I see you kind of like moving in that direction. Because with the Five of Cups here, it's like there's a lot of disappointment, right? And Five of Cups represents emotional disappointment, right? This could be a feeling of betrayal, or a feeling of distrust, or a feeling of, yeah, like somebody who, like, it's like you're focused on somebody who has, like, kind of let you down, you know? With a King of Pentacles in reverse, you're looking at this individual, how do I say this nicely? It's like you're seeing what they lack, right? It's like, you're seeing their insecurities, you're seeing their lack of mindset, you're seeing, kind of like a deeper side of this person, and perhaps it's a side that you don't like. With the Nine of Cups, I do see wish fulfillment, and perhaps something has to kind of come along to really trigger you to move, because even under like the most uncomfortable circumstances, a lot of the times people will stick it out in situations where there is some form of stability, right? Or some form of, yeah, stability, you know, because even if there's not a lot of joy or happiness, it's kind of like, well, it sustains me in some way, right? Or it's, you know, it's familiar, and familiar is comfortable to some extent. So, yeah, but you're a Sagittarius, unless you're a cross watcher, but I don't get that vibe that who I'm reading is a cross watcher. I feel that who I'm reading is a Sagittarius. But yeah, I definitely see that there's just like a discontentment with like where you're at, like just feeling disappointed, like things should have been different or better by now. Individuals that you're dealing with are disappointing. And if it's like a love thing, you might even like find yourself like losing attraction here. You might find yourself just kind of like, you know, looking at, you know, the situation as a whole and just being like, you know, it's like the veil is dropping, you know, or the veil is lifted, or what, however you want to perceive that. But it's like you're starting to see reality with that Eight of Swords in reverse. I see that pretty strongly, that that you're seeing something that you once didn't see, right? Or perhaps there was an illusion created for you. But it feels like there's almost like a disenchantment, right? And I don't say that lightly, you know. I'm not saying like somebody intentionally like enchanted you or put you under a love spell or whatever. However, there are a lot of ways in which somebody could take control over your energy in that way, right? Through manipulation, through seduction, through whatever, you know. But it's kind of like you're starting to see more clearly, right? You're seeing beyond the shell. You're seeing, you know, a rotten egg on the inside, if that makes sense. I don't know, and I feel like I'm being a little harsh, but it also, like, that's what I'm seeing. Like, you're this disillusionment, this, like, looking at this person or this situation for what it is. And like I said, it could be a boss, could be a roommate, could be romantic. There's not really a clear defining answer on what they are to you yet. They're bad luck, right? Wheel of Fortune in reverse. It's like you notice that when you're around this individual, or whenever you're in a situation here, it's like you notice that, like, bad things start happening, right? Or you start catching L's, right? Catching some losses. And you're like, why? Well, it's because you're too karmically close to this person. And so, like, you're catching their bad karma by proxy, right? And a lot of the times, and I say this often in my videos, like, when you're straying from the path, right, that you're supposed to be on, you'll notice that. Like, you'll notice just, like, a series of unfortunate events, right? Things that you're like, fuck, why is this happening? And when you're on the right course, on the right path, then you start noticing little blessings here and there, right? You notice, you know, maybe you find like 20 bucks on the ground. Maybe you get a promotion. Maybe, you know, you get a new job offer or whatever. Like, when you're on the right path, when your intentions are towards that, like, you know, the universe, like, reinforces that with, like, breadcrumbs almost, you know, it's like spiritual breadcrumbs. And I don't support breadcrumbing at all, not even from the spiritual realm, but it does help let us know which way we should go or which way is the correct way for us, right? Yeah, Ten of Wands in reverse tells me that in the near future you're going to be releasing a burden, the thing that holds you back, the thing that slows you down, the thing that really, like, inhibits your personal growth. I see you releasing that. 10 also represents coming to the ending of a cycle, and I'm seeing 8, 9, and 10, right? It's like you're literally, like, on your way out the fucking door with this situation. Perfect timing, too, for your birthday, right? Yeah, we have 5 of Swords in reverse. And every time I get this card in reverse, I think of that song by Alabama Shakes. Don't want to fight no more. Don't want to fight no more. Yeah, dude, you don't want to fight no more. Or you don't want that internal conflict. If it's not like just fighting with somebody, it's like you don't like the conflict, you don't like the conflictedness, you don't like the confusion, you don't like feeling that disappointment, you don't like feeling defensive or deflective. You don't like that, right? If you look at him, he is like very guarded over here, right? The flamingos represent swords in this deck. So, you know, he's like taking all these swords and the enemy's over there, and he's like watching over, and he's like trying to disarm the enemy, you know, trying to like take away their weapons, if you will. And that's in reverse, right? And it's kind of like you don't want to feel like you have to be so defensive anymore. You want to get to a stage where you're like, okay, you know, like, I need my personal freedom. I need to not feel on edge. I need to not feel like I'm tiptoeing around motherfuckers. And this goes back to the first card, right? That autonomy, free will, and manifestation. You are manifesting some kind of autonomy here. You're manifesting some kind of liberation from a situation. And with the Nine of Cups, it says there is wish fulfillment. Also, I feel that there is a strong need for you to like take action toward what you want, right? And to start shutting down everything that isn't that, right? Anything that doesn't align with that. You have Seven of Pentacles sideways. It was very sideways. I couldn't determine if it was up or down, so I'm going to read it as sideways, right? Meaning that there's like a hopefulness for like the seeds that you're planting now, right? That there's going to be growth and things coming forward. Also, there's a requirement of letting go, right? There's a requirement to let go to receive here. And in that letting go, we've got the Tower moment. And I know a lot of people hate seeing this. I know. But honestly, it's one of the best cards in the deck. And the reason that it is because it really like sheds the weight of like everything that is unaligned with you, right? Everything that doesn't actually fit into your world anymore, right? Anything that's not on your frequency anymore. And you know, it might suck. You know, this Tower moment. It might feel like loss. It might feel like a little bit of defeat, but also this is how you get your autonomy back. Sometimes in order to get your freedom, to get your wish fulfillment, you have to allow things to kind of like fall away, right? You have to allow the things to happen. And I know it sucks. And we don't like change, right? Because change can be challenging, right? Change always is challenging. But I feel like this is one of those challenges that you really are up for, because you know that this challenge, these changes, are really bringing about some beautiful outcomes for you. You just got to be brave, right? You got to have courage through this. And just trust the process. Trust in the doors that close just as much as in the doors that open for you, right? Like, and just allow, right? When I entered into my state of allowing, life got so much better in some ways and harder in other ways, right? Because you know, when you're in a state of allowing, that means no longer attaching yourself to the outcome, right? So when people want to act a fool, allow it, right? If you're in a relationship, instead of being like, don't do this, don't do that, trying to control or have some form of control in a situation, allow it, right? And it's one of the most philosophical things I've ever done in my life, right? Where you just let people do what they want to do, and then you see what they want to do, right? You observe it, and then you decide, is this something I want in my life, or is this something that is not really aligned with me? And you choose at that point, right? Every time I have allowed, I have lost, right? But I've also gained, right? Because one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of the times, um, in relationships or connections, um, when I'm like, yeah, do whatever, do what you want. What they want to do is hurt me, right? And so sometimes that sucks. And so, you know, you can't take it personally either. That's just how some individuals are. And so when you are in a state of allowing, you have to be detached from what is happening, right? And if it does hurt, cut that shit off and move on, Like, you don't need to stick around and tolerate somebody's disrespect or somebody's betrayals. Um, you know, it's just you're just no longer stressing yourself out over people in the way that they are, Um, like, you just don't let it get to you. And that's hard, right? But you're a Sagittarius, and I feel that you have the strength in you to have that kind of detachment, right? Um, like, if you notice somebody is playing with fire, let them play with fire. And one of my coworkers just told me the other day, she was like, never stop somebody while they're making a mistake, or like never interfere with somebody making a mistake, or something like that. Maybe it was with an enemy making a mistake, whatever. But because like, yeah, we were all in a rush and trying to figure things out, and I was just being bombarded on every side. And then, like, I'm trying to help my boss, who was trying to put whiskey in a Mai Tai, and Mai Tais are rum, and I was trying to, and then my coworker just looked at me and she's like, don't interrupt when somebody else is making a mistake, and I'm like, that's hard for me, because a big part of me is like, well, I could help them avoid making that mistake. However, if they're so fucking determined to do it, why am I going to intervene? Why am I going to stress myself out? Why am I going to allow somebody else's mistake to reflect on me at all, right? And so that's just kind of where you got to be with some individuals, All right, what can you expect after all this, after the tower, after you release, after you move on, right? Based on your trajectory, what can we expect? We have the Empress in reverse. You might feel a loss of enthusiasm, right? The Empress is Venus energy. Venus is Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. So you might be feeling emotionally detached towards the end of this, or you might feel a little depleted or uninspired, right? This is kind of normal after a tower moment to not feel 100, right? It's normal to kind of feel that. But then we have Temperance. This is your card. Sagittarius energy. And this is in the upright, right? And it's kind of like you're going straight into your empowerment, right? Your patience will have been tested through this. And you're coming out like better than you were before, right? With the Temperance, this is, patience, being level-headed, being slow to anger, being slow to react, just kind of taking life as it is, and being in a state of acceptance and allowing, right? This is, since it is your card in the upright, this is also you feeling very empowered, right? This is you feeling in your energy, who you're meant to be. And with the mountains in the background, it's like it represents everything that you had to overcome to get here. It's not an easy road for you, right? But it makes you better. And, you know, like, without adversity, we don't grow, we don't change, we don't get better. We need these challenges, we need the releases, you know, we need the hardship just as much as we need the not hard shit, you know. That's why I'm like, I like a good balance between hedonism and stoicism. You know, I'm not the one to like practice or to like preach or practice perfection by any means. That's not me. I don't do that. I preach and practice authenticity, right? And sometimes you're going to need to be a little more indulgent. Sometimes you're going to need to be a little bit more disciplined. And I feel that if you listen to your own internal compass, like, you'll know exactly where you're supposed to go and how you're supposed to get there, right? You got to feel it out. You got to hear it out. You know what's best for you, right? Better than anybody else. You know what's best for you. And you just got to listen to that, right? Because though you might want to live on chocolate cake or whatever, for an example, right? You know that's not what's best for you, right? And I would never tell you not to have the chocolate cake, obviously. Like, what I would say though is balance it out, right? A little chocolate cake here, a little lettuce over here, like, you know, balance. You don't have to be so indulgent that it's always chocolate cake, you know? You don't have to be so disciplined that it's always lettuce and carrots and shit, right? Like, having a healthy dose of balance is important, right? Hedonism and stoicism are like yin and yang energy, right? There's not really like, they're neither are inherently evil, but also neither are inherently perfect on their own, right? It's like, for the holistic experience of life, you kind of need both, right? And right now, I feel like you're being called toward a little bit more discipline, but that doesn't mean you won't ever have your indulgence again or whatever. It's just saying right now, you know what's not good for you, and you know what you need to cut out, whatever that is, right? And that's hard, you know. I got that same fucking message so many times, and then eventually I was like, fine, I'll quit smoking cigarettes, you know, as much as I tried to justify it, you know. And I'm not saying cigarettes is your thing. It could be a relationship, it could be friendships, it could be social habits, it could be whatever the fuck. I'm saying, you know, you already know. I'm only clarifying what you already know. Also, it's your birthday month, so it's, you know, that's also challenging too when you're being called to discipline during a time where you're like, I want to celebrate and all this, and that's fine. Also, take care of your needs first, right? Take care of a business. Take care of what needs to be taken care of. That shit's important. Take care of you. Take care of your mental health, right? If that means walking away from people, if that means cutting people off, if that means quitting your job and going to a new one, or whatever it means for you, you already know. We have King of Wands. That is your energy, King of Fire. So, with this following up the Temperance, I do see that this is you, like, finding yourself again, right? Feeling empowered. Perhaps walking, like, perhaps you're tapping more into your masculine and kind of less into your feminine, right? We all have masculine and feminine within us. The masculine side is going to be a bit more on the disciplined side, right? The feminine side is going to be on the more hedonistic side, right? Because indulgence is so inherently feminine, right? We love it. But yeah. And so, and I'm not talking about in the sense of gender, right? The way I see masculine and feminine is like the opposite sides of the brain, right? Like one is the logical, rational, strategic, very business oriented, very disciplined, energy. And then the other one is a little bit more flighty, a little more artistic, on the more spiritual realm of things, a little bit more indulgent. So it's not man and woman when I say masculine and feminine. I'm saying left and right side of the brain when I say masculine and feminine. Just to clarify for people. So, yeah. And with the King of Wands, I just feel that you're just going to be very motivated, motivated to do better, to have better, to, this is also an important step in understanding your personal value, right? Your worth. You determine that yourself, right? And you're like, you know what, maybe I would like to be this caliber of person. Maybe I want to be seen in this light. Maybe, and so you're really being called to follow your inspiration there, to tap more into your masculine and less into your feminine, right? With the 10 of Pentacles in reverse, 10-10, endings and new beginnings. You gotta release what you thought your outcomes were gonna be, right? You gotta release your own idea of a perfect, happily ever after. And it always, I don't know why, I've been, I think in the last, few readings, I've brought up this direct quote from this movie, but it keeps coming up, and it keeps feeling relevant, but here's this movie, Fools Rush In, and Matthew Perry looks at Salma Hayek, and he looks at her and he says, "You're everything I never knew I always wanted," right? And this is why you have to let go of what you thought you wanted, because one day you're gonna stumble upon the thing that is everything you never knew you always wanted, right? And it requires you to not be so attached to what you thought you wanted. You have to be flexible in allowing something that you could not have predicted to enter into your life, to bring about that outcome, so that you can see that you have actually gotten everything that you never knew you always wanted. I'm gonna pull some Kali cards because I love the wisdom of the Divine Goddess. I love it. And I don't know, I feel like this Kali Oracle deck, I mean, it was gifted to me from one of my good friends who also does my tarot readings when I need a tarot reader. So it feels a little extra special. I don't know. And yes, even tarot readers need tarot readers. Okay, we're all in this together. So if you read tarot, let me know. I'll sign up for a reading, dude. Dumavati. Certain endings are unavoidable. They are necessary precursors to radical reinvention. Any disappointment, defeat, or loss and the negative repercussions of such experiences will not limit your future happiness, but are opening up yet unrecognized pathways for fulfillment. Your trust must be unconditional at this time, and later you shall see that everything has worked out for the absolute best. It's basically what I've been saying this whole time. Durga Kalika. In unusually challenging situations, the ways we have supported ourselves during more ordinary times are insufficient. We need to be open to divine inspiration, protection, and proceeding in new ways. Here is a portent of unexpected success. Even if everything appears to be going against you, the tide shall turn through divine grace. Can I get an amen? Yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you. Happy birthday. I know that it's probably, you're getting a universal cosmic gift this year, and it's got to be with those unavoidable endings. It's got to start there. And that's part of the gift, though. Sometimes the loss is part of the gift, right? You wanted your autonomy. You wanted your free will. You wanted what you never knew you always wanted. And that is what you're going to get. So take it in, girl. Alright. Namaste. I love you guys. I'll see you later.